listening to Your Secret is Safe with Me, non-judgmental talk about infidelity with Dr. Marie Murphy. If you're looking for new perspectives on complicated relationship issues, you've come to the right place.
Days go by, they're crawling by.
Hey everyone, I am Dr. Marie Murphy. I'm a relationship coach and I help people who are engaging in anything they think counts as infidelity to deal with their feelings, clarify what they want, and make decisions about what they're going to do. No shame, no blame, no judgments. If you would like my help sorting out your infidelity situation, let's work together. You can schedule an introductory coaching session with me through my website, mariemurphyphd.com. I can't wait to meet you. When we are in the midst of a romantic predicament, it's very easy to get stuck on the details, to get lost in the weeds. For instance, if we're trying to decide between one relationship or another, or if we're trying to decide if we want to leave a particular relationship or not, we can easily get sucked into an endless examination of the specifics of each person we're involved with or each relationship and what we like and don't like about each person or each relationship. And that stuff is important to a point, but sometimes we get so lost in those minutiae that we lose sight of the bigger picture. And sometimes we need to reorient ourselves to the bigger picture in order to make sense of all of the details, in order to put all of the pieces of the puzzle together, right? So to that effect, I want to suggest that there are 3 general questions you need to consider in order to help you make sense of any romantic predicament you find yourself in. And this applies to infidelity situations, but it's certainly not exclusive to infidelity situations. And the first of these 3 questions is, what purpose do you want a romantic relationship to solve or not solve, serve in your life? Or put differently, what's a romantic relationship for in your estimation? Why do you want to be in a romantic relationship? That's another way of putting the question. Question number 2 is, what do you want in a romantic partner? What do you want your engagement with a romantic partner to be like? And I don't mean engagement like marriage engagement. I mean, like, what do you want the quality of your interactions to be like? What do you want the essence of your relationship to be like? And the third question is, what do you want to contribute to a romantic relationship? Who do you want to be in a romantic relationship? Let's talk about each of these questions in greater detail. In regards to question number 1, our beliefs about what a romantic relationship should be are at the root of a lot of our relationship troubles. Sometimes it's the specific content of our beliefs that gives us trouble. And sometimes it's our lack of awareness of what our beliefs are that causes us trouble. There are a lot of messages out there in the cultural fog about what romantic relationships are supposed to be like and what they're not supposed to be like and what we're supposed to get out of them. And many of us have absorbed these kinds of messages fairly unconsciously. We may have gotten messages from our friends or our family members or movies or the books we've read or the religious communities we've been a part of or Facebook or the internet or the, like romantic relationship, self-help industrial complex or whatever. Whatever sources we've drawn our messaging from. The point that I want to stress is that there's no shortage of ideas out there about what romantic relationships are supposed to be like. And we may have passively absorbed a lot of these ideas or half consciously bought into them throughout the course of our lives. Or it's also possible that we may have carefully considered other people's ideas about what relationships are supposed to be and decided either to accept them or reject them. But whether we've come to our understandings of what romantic relationships are supposed to be and what purpose they're supposed to serve for us, about whether we've come to these, having trouble with words today, whether we've come to these understandings consciously or unconsciously to this point in our lives doesn't necessarily matter. What does matter is that starting right now, you can become more conscious of what your operating assumptions about romantic relationships are. And you can decide whether you like these operating assumptions or not. If your beliefs about what a romantic relationship should be like are helping you have the kinds of experiences in your romantic life that you want to have, then great. Becoming more conscious of your beliefs can help you augment that. And if you don't like the way your romantic life is going, getting clear on what you believe about relationships and what they are supposed to be and not supposed to be like is an essential component of making changes in your romantic life. Examining your beliefs about and your expectations of romantic relationships may be very different from what you're used to doing. We often focus on whether we like a particular person or not, or whether we like the way a particular relationship is going or not. And as I said earlier, that's fine to an extent. But when we attempt to evaluate our relationships or make decisions about our relationships without an overarching understanding of what we think the point of being in a relationship is, we are likely to have a harder time evaluating and making decisions about our relationships, and B, ending up making decisions that we aren't as satisfied with. So even if you're in the midst of a romantic quandary that seems to have everything to do with the specifics of the particular people you're involved with, or the particular person you're involved with, or the specifics of the quality of the relationship you have with these people or that person, I want you to step back from those particularities for a moment. Instead of thinking about what you like and don't like about a particular person or particular people, I want you to ask yourself this: what is a romantic relationship for? What purpose do you want a romantic relationship to serve in your life? Why do you want to be in a romantic relationship at all? What's the point of being in a romantic relationship? Now, a lot of us just sort of assume that being in a romantic relationship is a good thing. And it may very well be a good thing for many of us. We may really like the experience of being in a romantic relationship or having some sort of romantic life, whether that includes being committed to one particular partner or even multiple partners or not. But we're not always terribly conscious of why we like having romantic experiences or what specifically we value about being in a romantic relationship, right? And this lack of awareness can have and have had really big implications for major life decisions, like, for instance, getting married. A lot of people get married or enter into committed relationships for reasons they aren't entirely sure of. They may have some sense that they like many things about their partner. They like many things about being in a relationship. And on top of that, for a lot of people, getting married is just kind of like the next obvious step in life. It's expected of many of us to one degree or another. And what happens a lot is that when we're expected to do things that we also kind of like, we just kind of do them without thinking too much about why we're doing it or if we really want to do it at all. And this is true of a lot of people's experiences of getting married. A lot of people get married because it seemed like a good idea at the time. It seemed like a fairly nice thing to do. Everybody else they knew was doing it. And then they wake up one morning, 2 or 3 or 10 or 20 years later, and they say, my God, how did I get here? Now, not having been terribly conscious of what you wanted out of a relationship never dooms you to any particular fate, even if you have already made some big decisions and big commitments. Getting clear on what you want out of a relationship, why you want to be in a relationship, and what you think a relationship is for in your life will help you figure out your next step rather than staying stuck in dissatisfaction or indecision or paralysis. So, what do you want out of a romantic relationship at this point in your life? Why do you want to be in a romantic relationship at this point in your life? What's a romantic relationship for at this point in your life? The question isn't what did you want 20 years ago or when you got married or whatever. The question is, what do you want right now? Do you want companionship? What kind of companionship? Sex? Get specific. What do you want your sex life to be like within the context of a romantic relationship? Do you want support of some kind? If so, what kind? What does support mean to you? Do you want to be with someone who can be a partner in your growth and evolution? And if so, what does that mean? Growth and evolution can mean a lot of things. Do you want someone who is a friend to you? Do you want friendship to be part of your romantic relationship? And if so, what might that friendship look like? How might your friendship with your romantic partner be similar to or different from other friendships you might have? Do you want someone who plays a particular role in your family, whether that's your immediate family or your extended family or your chosen family or however you define family? Do you want someone who shares a particular set of interests with you? Do you want to be with someone who likes the same activities that you like? These are just some of the kinds of questions you might want to ask yourself. You can want anything you want out of a romantic relationship. There are no absolutely correct or necessary questions that you should ask yourself, and there are no right or wrong answers to these questions. But I do want to encourage you to explore as exhaustively and specifically as you can the question of what's important for you to have in a romantic relationship right now. Because there are a lot of experiences in life that we could theoretically have with anyone. You could, for instance, have great sex with someone other than your romantic partner. You don't have to be in a romantic relationship to have great sex or any kind of sex. And similarly, you could get all of your needs for friendship met by other people. You could seek nothing but drama and uncertainty from your romantic relationship. You might want to find someone that you can just have really intense fights with. That might be what you want. And some people do kind of choose that, even if they think that they aren't choosing that, right? You might want a really strong intellectual connection with a romantic partner, but you could probably also find that from other people. So why do you want to have that in the context of a romantic relationship, right? These are just questions to explore. Now, something that a lot of people tell me they want from a romantic relationship is companionship. But what does that look like for you? People define companionship in so many different ways. Some people want a partner who's going to be around them pretty much 24/7 and is kind of going to function as their security blanket or their wubby, right? And some people want a very specific and limited kind of companionship with their romantic partner. Sometimes people just want to see their romantic partner for dates. They want to have really, really concentrated quality time with them where everybody's dressed up and having a good time and is on their best behavior or whatever. The point isn't that there are right and wrong things to want. The point is that the more clear and specific you can be in identifying what you want, the easier it's going to be to get it, right? Okay. Question number 2. What do you want in a romantic partner? Here are some questions you might consider in the service of answering the general question. Do you want someone who wants to communicate with you in a particular way? Do you want someone who wants to communicate with you about your relationship in a particular way? Do you want someone who has interest in particular topics? Do you want someone who wants to have sex with you in a particular way? Do you want someone who likes to travel in particular ways or to particular places? Do you want someone who's going to take on a particular role in your life, like perhaps organizer of fun or co-parent extraordinaire, or maybe financial provider or household manager? Do you want someone who has a particular sense of humor? Do you want someone who wants to spend as much time with you as possible? Do you want someone who prefers to have a lot of time and space to themselves? These are just a sampling of the kinds of questions you might want to ask yourself. And again, there aren't any objectively good or bad answers to these questions. A lot of the time, when I ask people what they really want in a partner, they'll tell me, and then they'll say, "Oh, but I know that's really bad," or "I know I shouldn't want that." And to that, I say, you are allowed to want whatever you want. My exhortation is simply that you get really conscious about what you want and that you own your preferences and you own your desires and you own your expectations. Get clear on what you like and what you want and take responsibility for liking what you like and wanting what you want. That's the really important thing here. Some people don't really know what they want and have never attempted to determine what they want. And then they find that they aren't happy in a relationship and they blame their partner for not making them happy. And then on the other hand, of course, some people do know what they want and they get mad at their partner for not being what they want or fulfilling their desires. And the funny thing is that doing either of those things, if we're conscious of doing them, may actually seem rather logical. There is an idea out there that is quite prevalent that the whole point of being in a romantic relationship is to feel good, and that the whole point of having a partner is to have someone who is so-called perfect for you, quote unquote, perfect for you. And so when this doesn't seem to be happening for us, when we aren't happy in our relationship and our partner seems to be anything but perfect, the only thing we may know how to do is blame our partner. That may seem completely logical to us. But this way of approaching a relationship or relationships is unlikely to get you what you really want. For one thing, your partner might not like it very much if you blame them for not being the way you want them to be. But more importantly, for your purposes, is that you are unlikely to get what you want by blaming them for your dissatisfaction. When we blame someone else for our dissatisfaction, we give all of our power away. If you know you want something, it's your job to be clear about that and to make choices accordingly. It's not your partner's job to do or be something simply because you want it from them. And if you don't know what you want, it is your job to figure that out. It's not your partner's job to figure out what you want for you and then be what you want for you, right? And if you don't like what you currently have in your relationship, if you're clear on what you want and you see that you don't have it in your current relationship, it's your job to do something about that. And that doesn't mean making your partner change or attempting to. It means making changes in how you orient yourself to the relationship, or it may mean leaving the relationship. Relationships can be a lot of things. And in general, I think it's fair to want whatever you want. And I think it's fair to want whatever you want in a partner. But there are some limits to that. And I think the most important category of limitations is that you cannot expect your partner or your relationship to make you happy all the time. You cannot expect your partner to do everything you want them to do and be whatever you want them to be. If you want your relationship to essentially be a Pez dispenser of happiness, then you are setting yourself up for disappointment. I talk a lot more about this in the episode called It's Not Your Partner's Job to Make You Happy, which came out in March of this year, which is 2022. So you might want to listen to that episode if you haven't already done so. But to echo what I said earlier, we can all be forgiven for thinking that relationships should essentially be Pez dispensers of happiness. That is the essence of a lot of messages about what romantic relationships are for and what they're supposed to be all about and what our partner is supposed to do or be or provide for us. But I want to suggest that romantic relationships can be a lot more enjoyable and interesting and satisfying and rewarding if we take responsibility for creating our own happiness and we're clear on what we want in a partner and a relationship. And then we focus on enjoying our partner and our relationship with them and creating happiness with them. And that brings us to question number 3. What do you want to contribute to a romantic relationship? When we think about what we expect out of a romantic relationship, we often think about what we want the other person to do for us or what we want to get out of the relationship. And that's fine to a point. It's important to think about what we want in a relationship and in a partner and what we want to experience and receive. It's important to be able to receive, essential in relationships. But many of us also need to think a lot more about what we expect of ourselves in relationships. Who do you want to be in a relationship? What do you want to contribute to a relationship? What do you want to do for a partner or someone that you're involved with? Do you want to be someone who takes radical responsibility for how you participate in the relationship? Do you want to take responsibility for focusing on what's great about your partner in your relationship? Do you want to be someone who is willing to make clear decisions about whether to enter into a relationship and commit to a relationship and stay in a relationship? Do you want to be someone who is committed to recognizing and respecting your own humanity and your partner's humanity, even when things aren't going so well? Do you want to actively cultivate interest in your partner? Do you want to actively cultivate desire for your partner? These are just a handful of questions you might want to ask yourself and a handful of suggestions about who you might want to be in a relationship and how you might want to contribute to a relationship. The point is, you have the opportunity to consciously decide how you want to participate in and contribute to any relationship you're a part of. And it can be so powerful to shift our focus to what we're contributing versus to what we want to get or what we think we're getting or not getting. We may think of what we do in a relationship and how we participate in a relationship as being for our partner or for the person or persons we're involved with. And in some ways, that's certainly true. But this is also for ourselves. What we give to our partner, what we give to someone else, we're also giving to ourselves. What we withhold from our partner, we're also withholding from ourselves. Who we are in our relationship with someone else and how we show up in our relationship with someone else is not just an act of giving to that other person. It's not just an act of being committed to or faithful to the other person or engaging with the person in a particular way. It's also an act of giving to ourselves. Who do we want to be in our lives? How do we want to engage with others? When we can answer those questions with clarity and certainty and then live in that manner, we're building a relationship with ourselves, not just with our partner or whoever we're involved with. And as I've said before, although our relationships with others are incredibly important, the most human relationship we're ever going to have is the one that we have with ourselves, right? So the way that we contribute to that relationship matters tremendously, no matter who else we're involved with. All right, people. It's one thing to hear me talk about this stuff on the podcast, and it's another thing entirely to have me as your coach who helps you apply the concepts and practices I talk about to your own life. So if you are ready to deal with your infidelity situation and find some relief in doing so, I am ready to help you do it. When you're ready to talk, you can schedule an introductory coaching session with me through my website, mariemurphyphd.com. All sessions are held via Zoom, so we can work together no matter where you're located. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. Thank you all so much for listening. If you've enjoyed what you've heard, I would love it if you would head on over to iTunes and give this podcast a 5-star rating. Have an amazing week. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Your Secret is Safe with Me with Dr. Marie Murphy. Make sure to click subscribe to get updates on our latest episodes.